I go there.
And
I don't like the minister. And I go to Robbins Church, and I like his minister.
Does Dick Robertson still go there? That's when he went
yes.
to. You know the old Dickster?
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
We thought he might retire and take the early retirement, but he didn't. I don't know why. You know, he's got to be close to wanting to do it.
I would think so.
He came basically when I did. Yeah, so he's been there a long time.
Well, I don't know what his problem is. He's got nothing to do either if he retires. So
You don't think so? Well, I know he still probably volunteers at Tri-City and stuff. Yeah.
He volunteers at the hospital.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. He's in the ER.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was when Brandon was volunteering in the ER. They volunteered together. So.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yes, it was a big deal one day. Time Dick couldn't do it, so he asked Brandon to do it for him, which is a very big honor.
Yeah, how neat.
Do they have volunteers here, students and so on that volunteer?
They have students here, but not volunteers.
No, they bring in students from some of these vocational schools, like Kaplan.
Kaplan.
Kaplan has a lot of people here.
Yeah, Kaplan will bring in a dozen
I
at
think
a
it's
time.
fully staffed by Kaplan people. And they do good.
Yeah, they're lovely young people.
They're fine.
Well, they're not all that young.
Is that where Lisa went to get her dental?
Kaplan. Lisa went to Kaplan to get her dental. I've got my
Is she still doing that now?
education at Kaplan too, huh?
Oh, really?
Is she doing that stuff now, or what's she doing?
No, she can't find a job part time. She's got to work.
She got the
full-time.
degree for.
She passed honors.
What,
on the
Kaplan?
honor roll. My daughter went to become a registered dental assistant.
Oh.
And she went in that career because they told her they was part time. My grandson's autistic, has autism.
Oh.
So she has to she can be there by 8, but she's got to be home by 3.
Oh, yeah.
And they told her, well, this is the career to go in. And then she's applied over about 50 different dentals.
Oh, really?
And they want her from 8 to 6, 8 to 6, even if it's 3 times a week. So there's nobody out there that will hire her from 8 to 3 like they said they would. And she spent all that money, and she was on the honor roll on top of that. So now she's just very depressed that she's gone 2 years of education, got her degree,
can't use it,
and she can't find a job for the part-time hours that she needs.
What a
that
shame.
sounds awful to me.
And the school basically lied to her.
Oh, that's a lot
I
of
think
people
the
do that.
school needs to be
And they're
sued.
being investigated right now too because of promising people positions that they're not honoring, and I guess a lot of people complain.
Oh, well, they should.
They should.
Well, it's a very expensive school.
Yeah,
so.
it cost her like for $18,000.
Oh, really?
It's more expensive than getting your associates and going that route.
In a state school.
But it's
Yeah,
faster.
so she's
and they don't
very
look at
frustrated and
Yeah,
very
they don't
upset
have
over
to
She
it.
can't change her hours to do that 3 days a week?
No, I would have to come home
So
from
now she
work
wanted to go
to
Mary
pick up
Rose, so
Dominic.
she'd have to go back
Couldn't you
and
get
do
a
all that.
caretaker or
No,
a
we can't do
nanny or something to do
no.
that?
I felt so bad
No?
for
He
somebody
can't,
one time
based
that
on
Mary Rose
the
said
reason he's getting
she
education, the
just
where
comes
he's
in
getting
one
it
situation, she comes in, she's trying to
is
get-
because he
she
doesn't
has to
have,
go back
the
and
state's paying his education, $55,000
Over
a year.
again. They don't honor
And
anything.
they will
Oh.
not
because it's not a
accept
Not
any
accredited
after
school.
daycare. They want the parents home with them.
So what do you think the
Wow.
campus
Where
is?
does your grandson go to school?
He
Nice.
goes to Effective Efficiency Education Institute in, they call it the Harvard School of Autism.
Oh, how nice.
Because it's the best school you can get into for autism.
Oh.
And the state pays $55,000 a year for him to go there.
Oh,
Wow.
is that right?
And he's in
Amazing.
3rd grade.
Amazing.
And
I have
they paid for it all.
I have a nephew who's autistic, and he finished college.
Oh yeah, well my grandson's
They're
high
bright.
functioning. He's very high
They're-
functioning. You would
yeah.
never know he's autistic
Yeah.
until he talks a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
a computer wizard.
Yeah.
I
good.
swear if he doesn't end up in high honors in engineering of computers, I will be shocked. He is
Sure he will.
incredible.
He probably will. They're bright.
This is a really good story. One of my girlfriend's daughter married a guy who they thought was ADD, but they finding out now he had a little bit of autism in him and ADD. And he worked for Sony. And he, all of his life, this is what my grandson did. Not all of his life, but when it came out, all the little computers and the DSs. And so anyway, he got a job at Sony building the automated systems for cartoons and stuff. So anyway, George Lucas came down to Sony and he picks 12 students from Sony to take up to San Francisco to a Star Wars headquarters. And they train him for 90 days. Well, he made an exception for Sean to go, which he has never done ever. It's 12 and that's it. But he knew this guy. He kind of took him on under his own wing. So after he did that, he brought him back to Sony. He had to finish his contract at Sony. Within a year, George Lucas hired him, and he won the golden, like an Oscar, a golden Oscar for automation in the artistic industry.
Amazing. They're,
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
And
you know,
he
George
says now
Lucas-
his one
Buddy,
time-
he's a buddy of George's.
You friend?
He's
friend-
in the
He
Rock
knows
and
George. He knows George.
George, yeah.
George and I don't get along.
Yep.
He was 2 years behind me in high school, and he's the biggest nerd I've ever met.
He is nerdy, very nerdy. But so
He hasn't come to
Sean-
visit?
Brandon's favorite things is one of
But
your
boy-
friends he was here and she was telling the same story. Brandon goes, "It's true."
It
He's-
really is
Yeah,
true.
it is
They
true.
say his
And they did
quarters.
American Graffiti
George
after
Lucas.
me.
Have you ever been to his headquarters in San Francisco?
He
When you
hasn't
walk through
invited
the
me yet.
door, when you walk through the door, it's Darth Vader of one,
I'm
and
sure
then
it
all.
is.
He says it's like walking into a spaceship.
Yeah.
He says like you're really making a movie. He says, and he says it's just incredible. He says it's like going to Disneyland every single day.
He is the biggest nerd I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
But he's a genius. But
He's a
Yep.
genius.
He's
Yep.
a genius nerd.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Made a few bucks along
made a
the way.
few
Where
bucks.
did you go to high school or college?
Thomas Downey High School,
Where's that at?
Modesto, California.
Oh, okay. Is that where he's
He
from?
was, yeah, that's where he's from. He's 2 years behind me in high school, maybe 3. And he was the biggest nerd that ever graduated from Thomas Downey, too. But he's,
He's in the millions.
oh yeah, well, you know, that's what happens to those kinds of people.
Yeah, well, look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates didn't graduate either. He dropped out after, what, 3 years, 2 years? And
College,
yeah, and he just,
but he'd already pretty much founded Microsoft.
They're just in a different world.
Yeah,
so,
they-
yeah, you
they
can't
are.
judge
They're
them
in
by
a,
it. George Milan
He would
was
tell
his
you that
best
don't
friend.
go
in
drop
high
out of
school.
school unless you got
George who?
George Milan was
That is.
well, George Milan's father was the speech teacher at Thomas Downey High School.
Oh,
So they had a very special relationship. So because he recognized the talent, you know, this kid
oh
had.
yeah, he was extremely, extremely
But
talented.
the rest of it just saw him for what he was, a
Yeah.
dipshit nerd.
Those are cute shoes.
And he made.
It's just something I haven't in pink.
Oh, I'm pink.
And
Oh,
my
they're
favorite
adorable.
movie of all time is American Graffiti.
Oh yeah.
I'm in American Graffiti.
Are
Well,
you?
your characters in your characters in that.
Character. I'm a character.
He's one of the hoodlums.
Richard Harrison.
Juvenile delinquent.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Really?
a troubled young man. I bet.
Pardon?
A troubled young man.
That American Graffiti will always go down in the classics.
Oh, I know.
I've never
Anyway,
seen
I
it.
was one of them.
He hasn't made you watch it?
Really?
I
You've
haven't,
lost some weight, Tom.
No.
Yeah, you have Tom.
Really?
you
No.
haven't put any on either,
I
so
think
About the
Lost
same.
it in here.
I think,
Lost
Yeah,
it in there.
I think he's gone up and down.
Oh,
Up and
I've
down.
seen 'em.
he's what you call a waffle man.
Yeah, waffle man. Could be better. I gotta start
You're not
exercising.
that
Huh?
bad. Not for your age.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, there are fatter people around.
There are a ton of them.
Ton of fatter people around, so that's all I can say.
Are you near retirement or
5 years.
5 years?
What are you, 55 now?
58.
58.
5 years.
5 years, I think.
Well, I retired at 62.
That's a good year. That's a good time.
I have one retired and the next one retiring this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Well, they got good buyouts. Jane Lee left teaching it after 33 years, got an outstanding buyout because she was the highest paid teacher in the district. Kim works for the government, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they're giving her a buyout.
Well, I'm never going to have
So
a
that's
lot,
another reason why how we're going to save money in our budget.
but I've got
Well,
enough.
Well, yeah, and
got a
she's
what?
lucky. She
I
was
said
in the
I don't
Peace
have a
Corps
lot
for
of
3
money,
years,
but
so
I've
the
got
government
enough.
gave her